Welcome back to the What Would Trump Do, everyone. Today is January 6th, and we're diving into one of the most pivotal and controversial days in recent American history, the events at the U.S. Capitol 4 years ago. We're going to break it all down: what happened on this day in 2021, the historical significance of similar events in America's past, Donald Trump's role, and the arguments for and against his involvement, and what this all means for his upcoming second term. Oh, and before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with your thoughts on the legacy of January 6th. We want to hear from you. Now let's dive in. Let's start with the facts. January 6th, 2021 was the day Congress met to certify the 2020 presidential election results. But outside the Capitol, thousands of Trump supporters were gathering, rallying around the president's unproven claims of election fraud. Earlier that day, Donald Trump held a rally near the White House. He delivered a fiery speech where he urged his supporters to fight like hell to save their country, although he also mentioned doing so peacefully and patriotically. However, tensions boiled over. Around 1 p.m., protesters broke through police barriers and began storming the Capitol. By 2 p.m., they had breached the building itself. Lawmakers were evacuated, and the certification process was brought to a halt. Offices were vandalized, windows shattered, and for the first time in modern history, the Capitol was overtaken by a mob. By 8 p.m., after hours of chaos, law enforcement regained control and Congress resumed its session. Despite the disruption, lawmakers were determined to certify Joe Biden's win. The session ended at 3:40 a.m. the next day. This wasn't the first time in American history that we've seen populist anger boil over into confrontation. Let's look at a few parallels. In 1786, Shays' Rebellion saw farmers rise up against taxes in Massachusetts. Their protest ultimately led to the drafting of the U.S. Constitution. The Whiskey Rebellion in 1794 also had farmers protesting a federal excise tax. George Washington himself led troops to suppress it, demonstrating the government's resolve to maintain law and order. More recently, during the Civil Rights era, protests like the Selma marches highlighted tensions between citizens and authorities. These movements, while largely peaceful, still faced violent pushback. Even closer in our history, responses to George Floyd and the Defund the Police movement lead to looting, civil unrest, vandalism, and violence across American cities. January 6th, however, stands apart due to the direct attack on a cornerstone of American democracy, the peaceful transfer of power. Donald Trump's role in January 6th has been subject of intense debate. Critics argue that his rhetoric incited the violence, pointing to his repeated claims of a stolen election and his speech urging supporters to march to the Capitol. Congress impeached Trump for incitement of insurrection, making him the first president to be impeached twice. However, he was acquitted by the Senate, with his legal team emphasizing his call for peaceful protest during the rally. On the other side, Trump's defenders argue that he cannot be held accountable for the actions of individuals in the crowd. His supporters see January 6th as a reflection of their frustration with what they believe is a corrupt political system. Trump's connection with his base runs deep. Many of his supporters view him as the only leader willing to challenge the establishment and fight for the forgotten American. For them, January 6th wasn't just about Trump. It was about standing up against a system they feel has ignored their voices for too long. Now let's talk about presidential pardons. Speculation is rampant that Trump may consider pardoning January 6th defendants. He's called some of them patriots and has repeatedly expressed sympathy for their actions. However, issuing pardons could have serious political ramifications, potentially alienating moderates while further energizing his base. Will Trump risk the controversy? Only time will tell. January 6th casts a long shadow over Trump's legacy. As he prepares for his second term, Democrats are sure to use this day as a rallying cry against him. At the same time, Trump's unwavering base sees it as proof of his ability to inspire and lead a movement. Expect Trump to lean into this narrative, using it to fuel his agenda. The real question is whether he can unite a deeply divided country, or whether the legacy of January 6th will continue to polarize America. January 6, 2021 was a day that shocked the world and reshaped American politics. Whether you see it as a tragic attack on democracy or a misguided protest, its impact cannot be ignored. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think about January 6th? Should Trump issue pardons? And how will this event shape his upcoming term? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more coming as we count down to Inauguration Day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.